In the beginning, before time itself had meaning, there was nothing but silence and darkness stretching endlessly in all directions. Yet even within that vast emptiness, there was God, eternal, unchanging, filled with wisdom beyond comprehension. He needed no space to dwell in, no light to see by, and no sound to speak, yet within him burned the desire to create. From the depth of eternity, he chose to bring forth existence from nothing. Then, with a voice both powerful and tender, he spoke words that would change everything. "Let there be light." And in that instant, light burst forth. It wasn't like the sunlight humans would one day see. It was pure, divine radiance, living light that danced across the void like waves of golden fire. Darkness trembled, retreating before the brilliance that filled the expanse. The universe, once still and silent, began to hum with life. God watched as the light spread in every direction, filling the nothingness with form, energy, and beauty. What had been empty now shimmered with his presence. It was the first dawn, though no sun had yet risen. God saw the light and declared it good. It was not only bright but alive, carrying purpose and truth. He separated the light from the darkness, assigning to each its time and space. The light he called day, and the darkness he called night. In that separation, time began, an endless rhythm of evening and morning that would guide all of creation. The first day unfolded in perfect harmony, a dance of illumination and rest, as if the universe itself took its first peaceful breath beneath the gaze of its creator. The light of that first day was unlike any illumination that would ever follow. It shimmered with divine essence, alive with purity. If one could have seen it, it would appear as waves of liquid gold folding upon themselves, gliding through a vast and formless space. The darkness, too, had its own beauty. Soft, deep, a place of quiet and renewal. God had given meaning even to the absence of light. There was no chaos, no confusion, only balance. From the very start, order flowed through creation like a heartbeat. As light filled the heavens, angels came into being, brilliant beings of spirit, born to witness and worship. Their voices rose in songs of awe, harmonizing with the very vibrations of creation. They sang, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of life, whose word brings light from nothing." Their melodies became part of the fabric of existence, blending with the glow of divine radiance. God smiled upon their praise, for it reflected the joy he had woven into the universe. The heavens rejoiced, for the darkness had found its counterpart, and the cosmos had begun its eternal story. Evening came, soft and quiet, and the light slowly withdrew, leaving behind the first shadows of night. But even in darkness, God's presence remained. He was there in the stillness, in the invisible hum of creation's first breath. Morning came again, brighter than before, and the universe shimmered with new energy. It was the completion of the first day, simple yet profound. Light and darkness existed in perfect balance, each fulfilling its divine purpose. And so, from the very first dawn, the pattern of time and order was established forever. As the second day began, the light revealed the swirling waters that covered everything. The earth was not yet formed. It was a boundless ocean of motion and mist. Waves rolled endlessly under the glow of divine light, and above them hung a haze of vapor, heavy and silent. Then God spoke again, his voice cutting through the sound of the waters. "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." His words carried power, and at once the waters obeyed, parting with perfect precision. A vast expanse stretched out between them, a great dome that would one day be called the sky. Below it lay the rolling waters of the deep, and above it the endless ocean of vapor and cloud. The firmament gleamed like crystal, pure and flawless, reflecting the glory of God's light. The heavens were born, not yet filled with stars or sun, but grand and limitless, a canvas for what was to come. The air shimmered, the waters roared, and creation expanded once more under the Creator's command, its rhythm steady and full of purpose. God named the expanse heaven, a place where light could dance freely, where clouds could gather and winds could move. The atmosphere itself seemed alive, flowing with unseen energy. It was the breath of creation, the invisible bridge between heaven and earth. God watched as the mist rose and fell, as droplets of water sparkled in the glow of divine light. The sky curved beautifully over the endless waters, forming the first horizon. It was not yet the blue sky humanity would know, but it was a beginning, a declaration of space and structure amid the chaos of the deep. The second day unfolded with majesty and order. The heavens stretched outward like an endless ocean of air, separating the upper waters from those below. It was as if God had drawn a great line through the chaos, establishing boundaries where none had existed before. The waters above would one day bring rain to the earth, and the waters below would nourish life. But for now they simply waited in obedience, shimmering beneath the Creator's gaze. There was evening, and there was morning, the second day, radiant and calm beneath the vast, holy sky. Though the earth was still submerged in water, something new stirred beneath the surface. The firmament had given structure, and the world awaited its form. The sky above whispered with the sound of gentle wind, the first movement of air. The waters below murmured in rhythm, reflecting the balance of heaven's order. The angels watched, their songs softening into awe-filled silence. God had spoken twice, and the universe had doubled in beauty. The separation of light and dark, of waters above and below, laid the foundation for all life that was yet to come. And so the second day ended. The heavens had found their shape, and the waters their bounds. There was harmony between the expanse and the deep, between the seen and the unseen. The universe was still young, but every part of it already obeyed the same voice, the word that would one day become flesh. God looked upon what he had made, and though he said nothing more, his satisfaction filled the air. The sky arched high, the waters below gleamed in reflection, and creation awaited its next command. The third day began with anticipation in the still unformed world. The waters that had covered the earth trembled as if awaiting the command of God. The surface of the deep shimmered under the light that now filled the cosmos, reflecting the glory of the Creator. God looked upon the chaos of the waters and declared, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." The voice resonated through the depths, and immediately the waters obeyed. They drew themselves into vast seas, leaving solid earth exposed. Mountains rose majestically, valleys yawned open, and plains stretched endlessly, awaiting the touch of life. The dry land was a canvas waiting for color, texture, and movement. God surveyed it, satisfied with its contours and shapes, but he knew it would not remain empty. He spoke once more, saying, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself." And it was so. Green shoots pierced the soil, tender at first, yet strong and persistent. Grasslands stretched across the plains like soft emerald carpets, bending gracefully in the divine breeze. Seeds took root, germinating in the rich soil prepared by the Creator's hand. Trees responded to the command with grandeur. Oaks and cedars rose with strength, their trunks solid and towering, roots digging deep into the ground. Fruit trees bent under the weight of future harvests, their branches reaching toward the heavens, leaves glistening with dew. Flowers of countless colors emerged, each petal painted with infinite care, designed to attract life, to signal beauty, and to inspire awe. The air began to fill with the delicate fragrance of blossoms, a scent that would one day comfort, delight, and soothe human hearts. The world was becoming a garden, not yet complete, but alive with promise. Every plant and tree carried the potential for continuity. Seeds held the future within them, miniature worlds waiting to expand into life. Grasses spread their tendrils across the land, linking plains and hills, creating the foundation for every creature that would one day roam. The earth responded, vibrating softly with the energy of emerging life, as if acknowledging the divine word. In this new order, the principle of reproduction was established. Each species contained the blueprint to continue itself, ensuring that life would endure beyond its first moments, stretching into eternity. The waters now gathered into seas reflected the beauty of the land. Waves lapped gently against the new shores, rhythmically touching the feet of mountains and the edges of fertile plains. God observed the interaction between land and water, noting the balance. Neither dominated the other, yet each shaped the other's existence. The rivers would carve valleys, the tides would nourish shores, and from these interactions, ecosystems would emerge. Even before animals or humans existed, the earth was already a living, breathing entity, responsive to the design of its maker. God's voice continued to fill the empty spaces, calling forth a diversity that would define the natural world. Flowers with radiant hues unfurled their petals, displaying the infinite variation intended for them. Some released sweet nectar to attract pollinators. Some produced seeds to scatter with the wind. Trees developed different forms, towering conifers, spreading oaks, fruit-bearing trees for sustenance, and smaller shrubs for variety and shelter. Every creation obeyed its purpose, demonstrating the harmony of intention in God's design. The land was no longer barren. It had become a place of life, movement, and growth. The sky above, stretching from the second day, now appeared even more magnificent against the backdrop of green land and blue seas. The clouds began to form as moisture rose from the waters, foreshadowing the cycles of rain and growth. Light fell upon the earth, illuminating the richness of colors, highlighting textures of leaves, and reflecting on the water's surface. God saw that the combination of light, land, and vegetation was beautiful. The principle of balance was evident. Each element complemented the other, creating a world that would sustain countless forms of life, each interdependent and thriving within the divine order. With every passing moment, the land flourished. Moss and ferns spread across the shaded areas, covering rocks and forest floors with a soft carpet. Flowers bloomed in patterns only the Creator could imagine, some clustered in groups, others solitary, each contributing to the tapestry of life. Grasslands expanded, forests deepened, and fruit trees multiplied. Each species was unique, yet interconnected through the very laws God had placed in motion. From this point forward, the earth was ready to host more complex life forms, prepared to support the animals and humans yet to come, fulfilling the design that had been imagined from eternity. The earth was no longer silent. The wind stirred through leaves, creating a gentle whisper across the landscape. The rivers sang as they meandered through valleys, flowing steadily to nourish all things. Even the mountains seemed to hum, resonating with the vibrations of creation. God observed these developments and smiled, knowing that each element had a purpose and a place. The first interactions between earth, water, and plant life demonstrated foresight, intelligence, and harmony. The stage was set for the next acts of creation, where living creatures would bring movement and personality to the ordered world. By the close of the third day, the earth had been transformed. What had once been a formless, watery expanse was now a dynamic world full of structure, color, and life. Grasses, flowers, and trees thrived across plains and valleys, each species carrying the potential for future generations. Mountains and rivers shaped the land with elegance, while the sky above provided light and air, in perfect balance. God looked upon the work of this day and declared it good. The third day ended, a day of formation, growth, and preparation, a world ready to sustain life in all its forms. The fourth day dawned with a sense of anticipation unlike any before. The earth and seas had been shaped, plants had rooted themselves in the soil, and the land was rich with color and life. Yet the heavens above, though vast and magnificent, lacked the distinguishing lights that would guide the rhythms of all life. God looked upon the expanse and declared, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, seasons, days, and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth." With these words, the cosmos responded with brilliance. First came the great light to rule the day. It was not a mere glow or spark, but a radiant sphere of divine brilliance, blazing with energy and warmth. Its light reached every corner of the world, reflecting off mountains, rivers, and forests. The sun illuminated the textures of leaves and the contours of mountains, warming the soil and nurturing the young plants that had just emerged. It established the rhythm of day, marking time with certainty and reliability. Its presence was commanding yet life-giving, sustaining the harmony of creation already in motion. Next came the light to rule the night, a softer, gentler luminary that would guide the hours of darkness. The moon was formed, reflecting the power of the sun, but in a subdued and comforting glow. It cast shadows that danced across the land and waters, creating a rhythm for rest and reflection. Alongside it, countless stars appeared, scattered across the heavens like diamonds on a velvet cloth. Each star was placed with intention, a shining marker to guide travelers, inspire wonder, and set the stage for navigation, storytelling, and the passage of time for all generations that would follow. The lights of the fourth day served more than simple illumination. They established cycles and order. Days and nights, seasons and years, all found their beginnings in this celestial arrangement. The sun would rise to bring work and activity. The moon and stars would rise to signal rest and contemplation. Stars became points of orientation, constellations that would later tell stories and help people measure time. In this arrangement, God displayed foresight, ensuring that the natural world and eventually humanity could function within a framework of predictable rhythm and beauty. God saw that these lights were good. They were not just functional. They were beautiful, harmonious, and inspiring. The sun's brilliance showcased strength and vitality, the moon's glow reflected serenity and calm, and the stars whispered tales of eternity. Their movements were precise, following the laws of motion God had already imbued within the cosmos. Planets and celestial bodies would later follow similar paths, but for now, the sun, moon, and stars served as primary rulers of day and night, a testament to divine design and care. The angels looked upon this day with wonder. They had witnessed the separation of light and darkness, the formation of land, and the growth of plants, yet the arrangement of celestial lights filled them with awe. Their songs rose once more, blending with the hum of the universe, celebrating the establishment of order in the heavens. The fourth day was a day of clarity and distinction, demonstrating God's authority over space, time, and energy. Every star, every ray of sunlight, was a reflection of the Creator's wisdom and beauty, designed to maintain harmony throughout creation. Even the earth responded to the new lights. Rivers sparkled with reflected rays of the sun, dew glistened on blades of grass, and forests were bathed in morning brightness. At night, the moonlight softened the landscape, giving contours to mountains and valleys, and creating shadows that danced among the trees. The stars shimmered in a silent chorus, a celestial symphony of points of light that stretched endlessly into the darkness. In this way, God provided not only practical illumination, but aesthetic delight, ensuring that the world was pleasing to behold in every moment of day or night. The placement of lights also foreshadowed their future purpose. Humanity, yet to be created, would look up to the heavens and learn from them. Farmers would rely on the sun and moon to guide planting and harvest. Travelers would navigate by stars. Poets and prophets would find inspiration in the constellations. God's design intertwined the heavens and earth with wisdom, so that the movements of celestial bodies would serve both function and beauty. The fourth day exemplified order, foresight, and care, showing that the universe was crafted with intention at every level. God observed the entire expanse, the sun blazing across the sky, the moon casting its gentle glow, and the stars scattered like diamonds, and declared it good. The creation was complete in this domain. Light was divided, the heavens were adorned, and time had structure. The universe had become a functional, harmonious system, capable of supporting life and inspiring awe. The fourth day concluded, not with exhaustion, but with satisfaction, for the cosmos had received its celestial rulers, and the rhythm of time was firmly established. As the fourth day closed, the universe rested briefly in contemplation. Light and darkness now had leaders. The earth shimmered in sun and moonlight, and the stars promised continuity and guidance. The angel's song softened to a gentle murmur, reverent and full of praise. Creation had progressed, each day adding layers of complexity and wonder, and yet everything remained under divine order. Stage was now ready for movement and life, the waters and sky teeming with creatures, and the land awaiting animals and humans. The fourth day was a testament to balance, foresight, and divine artistry. The fifth day began with a renewed sense of energy flowing through creation. The land had been formed, plants had rooted themselves firmly, and the light of the sun and moon guided the rhythms of day and night. Yet the waters remained quiet, vast, and untamed, and skies were empty of life. God looked upon these spaces and declared, "Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." His voice resonated across the seas, and immediately the waters stirred with anticipation, waiting to obey the divine command. From the deep, creatures of all kinds began to emerge. Enormous whales, their bodies gliding with majestic grace, sliced through the waves. Fish of every imaginable size and color appeared, scales shimmering like jewels under the sun. Tiny creatures danced near the surface, glittering as if sprinkled with light itself. Each species was created with precision, fins, gills, and forms suited to the waters they would inhabit. Oceans, once silent, now buzzed with movement, sound, and vitality, a living symphony responding to the divine word. Birds filled the skies above the earth, from massive eagles soaring high over mountains to tiny sparrows darting through the trees. Wings spread wide, they celebrated their freedom. Their songs echoed across the valleys and rivers, adding melody to the soundscape of the world. Each bird bore features tailored to its purpose: feathers for warmth and flight, beaks for food, wings for balance and speed. The heavens, once empty and still, now thrummed with life and motion. God blessed the creatures, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters and the skies." The ocean and air became arenas of abundance and activity. Creatures moved instinctively, guided by instincts placed within them by the Creator. Whales navigated the vast seas, fish swam in coordinated schools, and birds traced arcs through the air. Every movement served a purpose, demonstrating the perfection of design. The waters, once uniform and passive, now displayed diversity, from the tiniest plankton to the largest leviathan. Above, flocks of birds traced patterns in the sky, their flight revealing both freedom and order. God observed the fifth day's work with deep satisfaction. Life had expanded into areas that were previously void and empty. The seas were no longer still. They teemed with creatures of astonishing variety, each designed for its role. The skies, once barren, now echoed with sound and color. The act of creation extended beyond mere appearance. It carried function, beauty, and continuity. Every living being had the potential to reproduce and fill its environment, ensuring the continuation of life and the flourishing of ecosystems that would sustain countless generations. Even the smallest creatures contributed to the balance of the world. Tiny fish carried nutrients through the waters, small birds spread seeds as they moved, and insects, though not yet visible to humans, were woven into the ecosystem's delicate web. God's design considered every scale and size, every motion and instinct. From the largest whale to the tiniest seahorse, each life form had purpose and place, demonstrating the Creator's infinite wisdom. The oceans and skies were now vibrant, dynamic, and full of potential, awaiting further developments on the land. The interaction between water and sky became a dance of life. Fish leapt through waves, creating ripples that reflected the sun, while birds swooped down to skim the surface or nest along the shores. Rain would eventually fall from clouds, feeding rivers and replenishing the oceans. But for now, the water's movement and the wind's flow already shaped the environment. Every creature responded to its surroundings with precision, guided by the laws God had placed within them. Harmony existed even in diversity, showing foresight and order embedded in life from the beginning. The fifth day also established a principle of blessing. God pronounced his command that life should be fruitful and multiply, ensuring that oceans and skies would be filled with generations of creatures. This was not mere replication. It was the installation of potential and creativity within living beings. Birds would build nests, fish would travel in schools, and generations of life would adapt to their environments. God's word had not only created form and function, but also endowed life with autonomy, movement, and the ability to sustain itself across time and space. As the day concluded, the seas shimmered with movement, and the skies were alive with flight. The pattern of day and night continued, now accompanied by the rhythm of life. God observed the oceans teeming with creatures, and the skies filled with birds, declaring them good. The harmony and complexity of this fifth day reflected both divine power and care. Life had entered the world fully, bringing sound, motion, and color to the spaces that had once been quiet and empty. The fifth day ended, marking a milestone in creation, a day of energy, abundance, and joyous activity. The world now had rhythm and dynamism. Seas moved in waves, rivers flowed toward their destinations, and birds took flight at dawn, filling the air with song. The fifth day demonstrated how life could transform a space from static to vibrant, how ecosystems could thrive under divine guidance, and how the Creator's design ensured balance and continuity. Angels watched in awe, marveling at the beauty, intelligence, and coordination inherent in these new forms of life. Creation had reached a new level of complexity, each being fulfilling its purpose in a living, breathing world. Thus ended the fifth day. The waters and skies had been filled with life, movement, and sound. Every creature, large and small, had a place and function. The pattern of divine order had expanded beyond land and light to animate the world with living, responsive beings. God had imbued the oceans and heavens with beauty, purpose, and harmony, setting the stage for the land to receive its own inhabitants. The fifth day concluded as a celebration of life in motion, a demonstration of divine creativity, and a testament to the meticulous care with which the universe was being formed. The sixth day began with a sense of purpose and anticipation unlike any other. The earth had been formed, covered with plants and trees, the seas teeming with fish, and the skies alive with birds. Yet the land remained silent and still, waiting for the creatures that would roam its plains, climb its mountains, and inhabit its valleys. God looked upon the soil, the hills, and the forests, and he declared, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, cattle, creeping things and beasts of the earth. And immediately the land stirred with anticipation, responding to the divine word. First, God created the large beasts that would dominate the plains and forests. Elephants trumpeted their arrival, lions prowled with regal grace, and bears lumbered across mountains with quiet strength. Each creature had its own shape, strength, and instinct, perfectly suited to its environment. Some were swift and agile, able to chase prey or escape danger, while others were slow and deliberate, designed for endurance and resilience. The earth vibrated with the arrival of these animals, a living tapestry of strength, movement, and beauty. God observed them all and saw that it was good. Next, God created smaller animals, each designed with precision and purpose. Rabbits bounded across meadows, foxes slinked through forests, and insects crawled across the ground, each contributing to the balance of life. The diversity of forms ensured that the earth would thrive in every climate, in every terrain. Even the smallest creatures had a role to play in the ecosystem, dispersing seeds, fertilizing the soil, or serving as sustenance for others. The harmony of the animal kingdom was evident from the beginning, each life form connected through the web of creation. Then God turned his attention to humanity. Unlike the beasts and birds, humans were created in a special way, bearing the image and likeness of God himself. With deliberate care, God formed man from the dust of the ground, shaping his body, crafting his features, and breathing into him the breath of life. Adam opened his eyes for the first time and beheld the world with awareness and understanding. He was alive in a way the animals were not. He could reason, choose, and communicate with his Creator. The earth was now complete in its diversity, ready for stewardship and care. God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden, a paradise designed to sustain him in every way. Rivers flowed to nourish the plants, fruit trees provided sustenance, and the land itself offered abundance. God commanded Adam to tend and keep the garden, to cultivate its beauty and ensure the flourishing of life. Adam walked among the trees, naming each creature as he encountered it, acknowledging their nature and purpose. In this act, he demonstrated the unique role of humanity, not merely to inhabit the world, but to exercise wisdom, care, and responsibility over all living things. Even more, God created a partner for Adam, a companion who would reflect the same divine image and share in his stewardship. From Adam's rib, God formed Eve, a woman of strength, beauty, and intellect. She was designed to complement him, to walk beside him in harmony and partnership. Together, Adam and Eve would explore the world, cultivate the land, and care for the creatures. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over every living thing." Humanity was entrusted with responsibility, blessing, and purpose, reflecting the image of God in every action. The animals, too, recognized the authority of humanity. They moved among the humans without fear, each species behaving according to its nature. Predators respected the order established by God, herbivores grazed safely, and even the smallest insects performed their roles without harm or chaos. The earth, now fully populated with life, displayed balance and harmony, a reflection of divine wisdom. Adam and Eve marveled at the abundance around them, understanding their unique position as caretakers of a world so intricately designed. God saw the sixth day's work and declared it exceedingly good. The land was alive with movement, diversity, and vitality. The oceans and skies had already been filled with life, and now the earth itself carried creatures large and small. Humanity stood as the pinnacle of creation, endowed with intellect, creativity, and moral awareness. The blessing of life was evident everywhere in the flowing rivers, the rustling leaves, the songs of birds, and the footprints of animals. Every corner of the world bore witness to the power, wisdom, and care of its Creator. The sixth day also established the principle of stewardship and responsibility. Adam and Eve were given authority over creation, but with it came accountability. They were to maintain harmony of the world, to nurture its abundance, and to ensure that life continued in balance. The laws of nature, set into motion from the beginning, intertwined with human responsibility. This day marked the completion of living creation, the seas filled with creatures, the skies alive with birds, the land populated with animals, and humanity empowered to care for all. Creation was now fully alive and interdependent. As evening came, Adam and Eve rested in the garden, witnessing the beauty and perfection around them. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across mountains and rivers. Birds returned to their nests, beasts settled in their dens, and a gentle calm fell over the world. The angels looked on with awe, singing in quiet celebration of the divine masterpiece. The sixth day concluded, a day of fullness, motion, and harmony, culminating in the creation of humanity to reflect God's image. Life on earth was now complete, dynamic, and teeming with potential. The sixth day established a rhythm that would govern all future existence. Humans were given the gift of freedom and choice, the responsibility to cultivate and protect, and the privilege of enjoying the fruits of creation. Animals moved according to their nature, each fulfilling a role in the ecosystem. The world, now rich and abundant, stood as a testament to the meticulous care and infinite wisdom of the Creator. God looked upon all that had been made and saw that it was indeed very good. The stage was set for the seventh day, a day of rest, reflection, and divine completion. The seventh day arrived with a sense of serenity and completion. Earth was fully formed, its land adorned with mountains, valleys, and forests, rivers flowing with life-giving water. The seas teemed with creatures of every shape and size, and the skies were alive with birds in flight. Humanity walked the land, tending the garden and observing the abundance around them. Every element of creation existed in harmony, each species fulfilling its purpose, and every corner of the world resonated with the energy of life. God looked upon all that had been made, and his heart was satisfied. On this day, God ceased from the labor of creation, not out of weariness, but to establish a rhythm for the universe. Having spoken the world into existence, having filled the seas, skies, and land with life, and having entrusted humanity with care and stewardship, he paused to reflect on the work that had been completed. The seventh day became a day of rest, a sacred interval in the ongoing rhythm of time. God's rest was a model for humanity, showing that work and effort, even divine work, must be balanced with peace and contemplation. The angels observed this day with reverence, singing softly in awe of the world now complete. Their voices, which had accompanied the unfolding of creation, now blended with the quiet majesty of a universe at rest. Even the earth seemed to exhale, its rivers flowing gently, forests swaying in a calm breeze, and mountains standing silent in grandeur. The seas rippled without disturbance, and the sun, moon, and stars maintained their courses in perfect order. Every part of creation reflected the satisfaction of its maker, a harmony that echoed across the cosmos. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, setting it apart as holy. It was a day of reflection, of gratitude, and of connection between Creator and creation. Day was not simply an absence of work, but a presence of awareness, a time to recognize the perfection of all that had been formed. Humanity was given an example, to pause, to observe, to honor the gift of life and the responsibility that had been entrusted to them. The seventh day was a bridge between effort and contemplation, between divine power and the joy of experiencing what had been made. Land, seas, and skies rested in balance, awaiting the ongoing stewardship of humans. Adam and Eve walked together in the garden, marveling at the intricate design around them. Every leaf, every river, every creature spoke of God's wisdom and care. The rhythm of work and rest, light and darkness, motion and stillness had been established. Creation, though complete, was not static. It was alive, dynamic, and ready to grow, yet framed by the pattern of rest and reflection that the seventh day introduced. As the seventh day drew to its close, a profound stillness enveloped the world. The animals had settled, the waters flowed calmly, and the winds whispered gently through the trees. God's presence filled the earth, a silent affirmation of all that had been accomplished. The seventh day demonstrated the importance of balance, of pause, and of reverence for the work of creation. It was a day for reflection, for gratitude, and for communion with the source of all life, a reminder that even the most magnificent achievements must be met with contemplation and rest. This final day marked the culmination of the creation story. 7 days had transformed emptiness into a vibrant, living world. Light had been established, the sky divided from the waters, land and vegetation formed, celestial lights placed in the heavens, seas and skies filled with creatures, the land populated with animals and humans, and finally, the universe set into a rhythm of work and rest. Each day built upon the last, and each act of creation was purposeful, reflecting wisdom, balance, and intention. The seventh day was the seal of completion, a testament to the harmony of all that had been made. And so the world rested. Rivers sang softly, the forests whispered in the wind, and humanity walked in awe, tending the garden and reflecting on the beauty around them. The heavens and earth were in perfect accord, the animals moved in their rhythms, and life thrived in abundance. The seventh day reminded all of the importance of pause, of reverence, and of recognition of the divine pattern that governed the cosmos. God's work was complete, creation was whole, and a sacred order had been established for all generations to come. In the quiet of that day, a promise lingered. The rhythm of creation would continue, guided by the principles of balance, care, and rest. Light and darkness, land and sea, air and sky, life and reflection, all were interwoven in an eternal tapestry. Humanity, as caretakers, would walk in this pattern, learning from the divine example of pause and gratitude. The seventh day was more than rest. It was a celebration of completion, a recognition of divine wisdom, and an eternal model for the cycles of life, work, and contemplation that would define the world forever.